In the early 15th century, the borders of two empires had started to collide. On one side stood Bayezid, the proud and fearless Sultan of the Ottomans. And on the other, AMIR TIMUR, a legendary warrior from the east, unmatched in strategy but feared across cities for his harsh rule. At a place called ANKARA, a battle was about to unfold, one that would shake both empires. Years before this day, Timur had begun moving west, entering lands once ruled by the Ottomans. He took control of eastern Anatolian cities, upsetting the balance of power. Bayezid reacted by absorbing many Turkish emirates into his empire, emirates that once respected Timur. This made the conflict personal. The situation became even more unstable. Meanwhile, letters of insult and threats were being exchanged between Bayezid and Timur, each claiming to be the rightful leader of the Muslim world. In 1402, Amir Timur began marching towards central Anatolia with a massive army. He arrived at Ankara first and quickly began preparing the battlefield. Using one of his signature strategies, he ordered the wells to be blocked and water sources destroyed, making sure that the Ottomans would arrive thirsty and weakened in the blazing heat of July. Bayezid reached Ankara days later with his army. By the time he arrived, his soldiers were exhausted from the march and found the battlefield dry with no water in sight. Still, he arranged his troops for battle. He placed his elite janissaries in the center, disciplined, steady, and loyal. Heavy cavalry stood on both flanks, and Serbian vassals stood with him, ready to fight. Timur, on the other hand, formed his army in layers. He kept his fast cavalry divided into multiple wings, each prepared to hit and retreat in cycles. Archers stood at the rear, while elephants, covered in armor from his Indian campaigns, stood tall in the front, ready to charge. As the sun rose, Timur began the attack. His cavalry struck from the sides with speed and precision. Arrows flew across the plains like swarms of birds. The elephants marched forward, crashing into Bayezid's front lines. The janissaries held their ground, but chaos began to grow when parts of Bayezid's army, troops from Anatolian emirates, suddenly switched sides during the battle. They joined Timur, leaving huge gaps in the Ottoman formation. Bayezid, seeing the shift, tried to push back. His cavalry made a final charge, but it was too late. Timur's troops surrounded them from all directions. Bayezid nearly escaped the battlefield. He rode fast toward the hills, trying to retreat, but during the escape, he was struck by an arrow. Weakened and cut off from his forces, he was captured. Not only was Bayezid taken, but his sons were also captured alongside him. The Sultan, once feared across Europe and Asia, was now in Timur's camp. He passed away in captivity a year later, far from his palace and his people. Timur, victorious, returned to Samarkand. But just 3 years later, he too passed away while preparing to march toward China. Though he had won, his empire began to fragment after his death. As for the Ottomans, Bayezid's remaining sons turned on each other, fighting for the throne. This led to an 11-year civil war remembered as the Ottoman Interregnum. For over a decade, the once mighty Ottoman Empire stood divided. The Battle of Ankara was more than a single day of war. It was a turning point, one that shattered thrones, broke armies, and showed the world that even the strongest rulers could fall, when pride met strategy and heat met betrayal.
If you are new to our channel Islam for You, then please subscribe to our channel and press bell icon for more Islamic content, and don't forget to like, share and comment on this video.